West Bloomfield's Rotary Club is on a mission to expand their reach, helping kids of all ages from far beyond those that are here close to home. Their annual Out of Africa fundraiser is on its way at Pine Lake Country Club later this month, helping to raise funds to support the kids in need all across the globe. Here to tell us more is Marlenn Maicki from the Rotary Club of West Bloomfield. Miss Maicki, thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Happy to have you on to talk about this. It's an annual fundraiser. It's one of the biggest fundraising opportunities of the year that is put forth by the Rotary Club of West Bloomfield. Tell us a little bit about what people can expect if they show up on September 28th to the Out of Africa fundraiser.
Well, we are having, as you know, we're having a dinner at Pine Lake Country Club, also a silent and live auction, during which there will opportunity to buy raffle tickets for a 50-50 raffle. And there will be many opportunities for people to show their support for the kids that we're trying to help.
And it all goes to support an organization called Omni. Give us a little bit of information, some insight for those not familiar with this, haven't gone to the fundraiser, haven't heard of it on our programming and in other places in past years. What does Omni do that makes the Rotary Club of West Bloomfield put its support behind them year in and year out?
Well, first of all, the acronym OMNI stands for Orphans Medical Network International. And right now we are working very hard in Africa and have been there for the last 20-some years. And so we are supporting the most vulnerable and impoverished children that you could imagine. And we are trying to get them and their communities every possible help so that they have a viable future.
So what inspired this? It's, as you said, almost 20 years or over 20 years that this fundraiser has been ongoing with the Rotary Club of West Bloomfield. What inspired the beginning of raising funds for this organization that does work far and beyond the confines of our community?
Well, as you know, Rotary is service above self, and Rotary aims to help all people in many different communities, and often they have an international project, and that's what this one is. My husband has been with this organization for some 20 years, almost since its beginning, and it started out with the team of medical missionaries going over to Africa, and ended up with a much broader scope than it has now.
We did talk to Dr. Maicki just before the Michigan Week Awards in May of this year, and part of our conversation with Dr. Maicki was about his experiences going to these parts of Africa, going to Zambia in particular to help Omni with some of these services. So for those that aren't familiar with the end cause of why this is being supported by the Rotary Club of West Bloomfield, you raise all these funds, you send them to Omni. How do they help with the boots on the ground in places like Zambia, helping out these kids?
Well, I don't know if it's general knowledge, but in Zambia, in order to go to school, the children must be able to buy the uniform, and their parents have to belong to the PTO. Well, if you're an orphan, you obviously don't have that opportunity. And even worse, if you have parents who are alive and they're poor, you still don't have that opportunity to go to school. So the cycle of poverty just kind of repeats itself over and over again. What now? We have a school over there in which we have 365 children that attend there. And almost every person there, well, they're chosen by need. So 50% of the children have lost one or both of their parents. They all face chronic hunger, they lack medical treatment, and cannot afford to attend the public school. So what we do is we try to take in the most vulnerable of all of these children, give them an education, and a hot meal every single day. We give them food to take home on the weekend, which we'll tell you a little bit more about that. They get a school uniform for free. Twice a year. They get shoes on their feet, which is a big way of preventing a lot of diseases. They get treated mosquito netting for their homes because they don't live in homes like you and I. They live in huts that have dirt floors, no heat, no electricity, and no furniture. So they're very, very poor people. So the money that we raise, we right now try to sponsor at least 20 children. So we have a grant with the Rotary that will help us out, but we must raise at least $5,000 in order to do our part of that grant. And luckily, we have been fortunate in the past years to be able to raise more than that. So we've been able to do a whole lot more than just 20 kids. Each child sponsorship for 1 year is $420, which is not a lot of money.
Yeah, for 20 kids each, that goes a long way to be able to help almost a full classroom's worth of children, especially if you exceed that baseline goal of 20. That is a significant amount of orphan children in Zambia that are going to be able to have that education, that those medical needs being met as well, and so many of these other services. Marlenn, you and your family have participated in this for many of these last 20 years, if not every single one of them in some capacity. So you are uniquely familiar with how Omnis work on the ground and how these fundraisers help these communities across the globe. But for those that join in on these fundraisers, maybe they did last year or a couple of years ago, maybe they are going to for the first time this year on September 28th at Pine Lake Country Club for this particular year's fundraiser. What typically is the reaction from those that go to this event and learn more about Omni's work when they learn just how far their dollar is going when they donate by coming to this event?
Well, I think people start to realize when they hear the stories of the children and their families, of which there are many stories you can imagine. When they start to hear these stories, they realize how lucky we were to be born in the country that we are in, and that these children have nothing and they will not get anywhere unless they get an education and have someone help them just get out of that spiral. So all of the money that we raise, every penny of it goes for the kids. Anybody in the United States that works with Omni is a volunteer. No one is paid for anything. The years that the medical team's over, each person on the medical team paid their own way, their own airfare, their own hotel, their own food, and then ended up donating more money, usually while they were there because they saw a need and just jumped in and said, here, I'll put more money into that. So you know your money is going to help somebody for sure.
And that's what's important here, is that the money and the fellowship from this organization and from your organization with the Rotary Club of West Bloomfield, it actually goes to help actual people. It's not done for a photo op to get missionaries out there for their own purposes or for advertising and marketing. This is legitimately helping people in legitimate need in places that are in vulnerable situations, like the orphans that are in these scenarios in places like Zambia. Marlenn Maicki is with us from the Rotary Club of West Bloomfield on today's edition of The Splash Live, their annual Out of Africa fundraiser helping Orphan Medical Network International, or Omni. September 28th begins at 4 p.m. Pine Lake Country Club in West Bloomfield. The auction, silent and live, begins at 4 p.m. Drawings at 7:30 p.m. with a dinner and a whole lot of fun in between all of that. More information on westbloomfieldrotary.org, or follow them on Facebook at West Bloomfield Rotary as well. Marlenn, this all goes back to the overall mission of the Rotary Club of West Bloomfield, something that the people will also be able to learn about by attending this fundraiser. So how does it fit the vision of the Rotary Club? Of course, you mentioned the motto being service above self, but also help to tie the community here locally closer to that mission as well.
Just so you would know, in this past year, the past 2 years, there's been a drought. And the people didn't have enough problems being with poverty. Now they couldn't even grow crops. So we have done a lot of things there, like drilling more wells, making fresh water available to the community. We built the police station on our property so that we have increased security for our children. We just completed this week a gender-based violence counseling center to help combat the domestic violence that is quite rampant over there in Zambia. But anything that people can do to help out is very much appreciated. And we have pictures to show and stories to tell. So we hope that you can come and join us.
We do as well, Marlenn. We know it's a very busy part of the year for people. They have a lot going on this fall between their kids in school, family events, the holidays, and all of that. So if they're not able to attend this fundraiser on September 28th, what are some other ways they can get involved, either with the Rotary Club of West Bloomfield or helping out Omni in the near future?
Well, they can always look on our webpage, as you gave the directions for that. They could buy raffle tickets. We have raffle tickets for a 50-50 raffle that are $20 a piece. And there's going to be a winner. Last year's winner took home over $2,000. We also have sponsorships for children. So anybody can sponsor a child for $420 a year or $35 a month, if you care to do it that way, and give another child, besides the ones that we hope to sponsor, another child personal life. These kids are so thankful for that. That a recent trip to Zambia, a little girl came up to my husband and said, "Would you please sponsor me? My friends have a sponsor. I don't have a sponsor. Could you please sponsor me?" And of course, he said, "Yes, he will." So her name is Priscilla, and she's one of the children that we've sponsored now. She's now going into the 9th grade. Wow. So there's, if you look on the Rotary webpage, there are ways that you can donate there also. Just cash donations of any kind are always welcome because we have so much to do. And as I said, we have branched out into so many different areas, coming from a medical mission to now having a school. We feel responsible for every single one of those children, but we also are working with the community to develop their resources, small businesses, and we give them vocational training. We even have adult classes at night at our school to help them. The ones that have never gotten a chance to go to school can now learn how to read as an adult. So we just feel that our mission is quite valuable.
Your service and your patronage goes a long way to help real people in tough situations all over the globe, all in the name of supporting a good cause from right here, close to home in greater West Bloomfield. Marlenn, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much.